This past fall, I decided it was time to get a new helmet, and the helmet I selected was the Schuberth E2. I selected this helmet for a few reasons, but primarily, if you've watched my channel for a while, you'll know that in Oregon, especially at sunrise or sunset, you wind up on a number of roads that are either east facing or west facing, and they go directly into the sun. In fact, one of our major highways, Highway 26, is called Sunset Highway. So it leads you out of the city sort of directly west. And you'll just find from time to time that when you round a corner, you can be blinded. I mean, completely blinded. And this happens to me a lot in the fall and spring when I'm leaving work right around sunset. So I decided I needed a helmet that had not only the internal sun visor, but an external sunshade. Here's what it looks like from a video I shot in 2023. Okay. There's a fairly large manual when you think about this just being a helmet. The helmet does come with a Sena SC2 communication system. When I bought the helmet at the Triumph dealer, I had them install the communication system. So that's already been installed in my helmet and set up. Okay, the helmet has a very nice travel bag. And so this is the helmet I bought. The essential thing was I really wanted this external sunshade, but I did not like the look of the sort of more rally off-road helmets that had sort of the much more pointy face. I really wanted my helmet to be a road helmet. And the Schuberth was the only helmet that I could find that sort of ticked all of the boxes. It's got the pin lock insert inside the face mask already for anti-fog. And the, everything can be opened on the helmet, even with the visor down. The clear visor can be opened up. So everything can be opened with the sun shield down, and the sun shield operates by these clips on the side. You pull them down. And then the sun shield can be adjusted to the angle you want it to be. This video is not sponsored by Schuberth. I saw the helmet at the Triumph dealer probably about 8 months ago, and I really, really liked this helmet. I tried it on a few times. It felt really good. It felt really comfortable. The biggest drawback in the United States for this helmet is the price. In the United States, with the helmet and the Sena communication system, this helmet came in just about $1,000, which is an insane price to pay for a helmet. But I'm optimistic that this helmet is going to prove itself worth the cost. But my next steps are to pair the communication system with my phone. I'm not going to go through these steps. There actually is a video online from Schuberth to follow for this. I can put the link to that video in the description of my helmet video in case you are buying a Schuberth helmet and you want to know how to pair it with your phone. So let's talk a little bit about the evolution of my motorcycle helmets. So my first motorcycle helmet is this LS2 helmet. It's not a full face helmet. I bought this one when I bought my Suzuki back in 2004. You can see that I tried to install, maybe you can see, that I tried to install an insert in here, a stick-on anti-fog insert that also is photosensitive, because the internal pull-down sunshade is not enough on those days when you're commuting straight into the setting sun in the fall or spring. So I was hoping that this photosensitive strip inside the visor would provide enough extra protection that I wouldn't need an external sunshade. I was also hoping that this would help prevent fogging up on the helmet. Neither one of those things were true. Now, when I started to do longer motorcycle trips, and when I started to ride with other riders, I decided that I wanted a helmet that had communications. And I was sort of on my own trying to pick this out. I didn't want to buy a helmet and then integrate the communications myself. I really wanted a helmet that was designed to have the communications as part of it. That still is my philosophy. I mean, I understand the rationale for purchasing a helmet that doesn't have communications and just affixing a communication system to it. But I think, I think everything's better when it's designed for the purpose it's being used for. And so, like with a motorcycle, yeah, you could add heated grips afterwards. I would rather get heated grips, installed, as the bike was designed to have them installed. I'm not a big aftermarket modder of things. So when I was looking for a second helmet that had communications, I saw this Sena helmet, and I thought that's great. It's Sena. It's got the built-in communications on the side. It does not come with a pin lock, which kind of actually surprised me. This is a relatively new helmet, and I would have actually thought that it would have had a pin lock in it, but it does not. So I was never able to put an anti-fog pin lock in it, which, again, because I do ride in cold weather, has been an issue with this helmet. There was one very notable ride. I think it actually is the Triumph dealers a ride that they call the Chili Ride, which is a ride in January. When I first did the Chili Ride, this Sena helmet was fogging up so bad that I was essentially blind on large parts of the ride. So aside from the fogging issues, I've actually been fairly happy with the Sena communications. And so, I use it. I can hear my directions on my phone through the helmet when I'm doing distant rides. It's been incredibly reliable, but it is not current generation Sena mesh technology. And unfortunately, the guys I ride with are using Cardo systems, and this helmet will pair with their Cardo system. They have Cardos that can do mesh, and this Sena can be linked into their communication link, but what they report is on their end, they always hear crackling through the audio. So this has not been an ideal group riding helmet, but for solo distance rides, this has been a great helmet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this helmet now that I have a new helmet. This might be something that I just take to Goodwill or put up online, because I really don't need two full face helmets. Because this has the older Sena technology, maybe it's just time to retire this helmet. I'll make that decision as the spring moves on. The first helmet I bought, the LS2, like I said, it was probably under $100. The Sena helmet with the built-in communications, I think I probably paid in the mid 200s for it. At the time, I was like, wow, that's a really expensive helmet. I expected it to last a really long time. But because I'm riding with guys who use Cardo systems, I thought it was better to get a more modern Sena communication system so that I could communicate with them via mesh. So why didn't I go for a helmet with Cardo if the folks I'm riding with are all using Cardo? Well, I think I think I answered this sort of partially already. I'm not a big fan of aftermarket modding of gear. I sort of want the designers of the gear to think it through and to make it work. And I would rather use gear that was designed with the intent of having communications installed in it. What I don't understand is why helmets just don't have a universal audio mount on the outside so that you could attach either an external Sena unit or an external Cardo unit to the helmet, with all the internals already being pre-wired for you. That seems like a no-brainer to me when it comes to motorcycle communications. Everybody wants a speaker in their helmet. Everybody wants a microphone in their helmet. So pre-wire all of that stuff and just build a universal mount and let Sena and Cardo design units that can fit a universal mount. If that was the case, then I would have absolutely bought a helmet that had a universal mount on it over a helmet that was hardwired just for Sena. Now, on the topic of why did I pick Sena when the guys I'm riding with are primarily running Cardo? Well, that then came down to the Schuberth helmet. I looked and looked and looked for the better part of a year for another nice looking street helmet that had this external sunshade, and I just didn't find anything that I liked. Every time I came back to this Schuberth helmet, I really was in love with the design. I think they've done a fantastic job incorporating sort of everything that one would need in a year-round helmet. So I really like the Schuberth helmet. Because the Schuberth helmet came with a built-in option for the Sena audio, I sort of bit the bullet on that one. I know it's going to be more modern Sena, so it's going to have the mesh capability. Hopefully that will make the audio between our headsets better. I'm expecting that it's not going to be as good as if we were all riding on the same system. But also, I try when I ride. I'm not a big talker. Like if we hit a snag in directions and we have to talk through the microphones to try to figure out are we going left or right, I'll talk then. But I mostly ride in silence. I'm out there riding for the peace and quiet of the road. And so I don't really need a lot of voices in my head when I'm riding. So for me, the communication system is sort of the least important part of the helmet. The biggest reason why I need communications in my helmet is for my GPS on my phone so that I can get audio directions. And so again, from that perspective, I've already got the Sena app on my phone. I've used Sena on my last helmet, so I was not put off by the Schuberth helmet being exclusively designed for the Sena audio. But I'll also say that I did check with the guys I ride with. They knew I had been looking for a new helmet all fall, and when I decided that the Schuberth helmet was the helmet I was going to buy, I got in touch with them and I said, look, this is the helmet I like, but it's going to come with Sena audio and not Cardo audio. And is that okay? Can they put up with me remaining on a different audio system? And their response was, of course we can. Like, it's not that bad. It works. It's just a little staticky. It'll be fine. Okay, I just finished filming my updated review on the Rhino Walk saddlebags, and now I thought I would do an update on the Schuberth helmet that I bought. I believe I bought this helmet in 2024. I'll try to check the dates and make sure that I have an accurate date. It was a very expensive helmet to buy, but it comes with the integrated comms. So it's got a battery pack on the back, and then the comms pack on the side, and then an integrated microphone. So I really love this helmet. I don't have any complaints about the helmet itself. The helmet has number one, great airflow. Last year when we were riding back from Tillamook on one of the final rides that I had with Bruce and John, the temperature, once we crossed the coastal mountain range in Oregon, the temperature went from probably like the mid 80s up to about 106 degrees. And so this helmet is great. You get tremendous airflow. This, the front grill here that lets air in, really, I mean, it comes in straight on your sort of lower face, your chin, and below your nose. So you always have sort of a cool breeze coming in around your mouth, which is helpful. And then the top vent, you can feel the airflow throughout the helmet as you're riding with it, which is really lovely. And the airflow has been consistently enough that if there is any fogging issues and the pin lock is not addressing those fogging issues, once you get riding, the airflow is enough to clear up the fogging issues. As far as helmet operation goes, I hardly ever lift up this portion of the visor. I usually leave that closed. And if I'm going to open the helmet, I just open it full face like this. Even when I'm sitting at an intersection, if I'm like, I just need a little bit more air in there, I'll open it the full face way. So the complaints I have about this helmet, and it's really minimal. The first complaint I have is with this microphone. My advice to Schuberth would be to make a smaller mic, right? In this day and age, you should be able to just make a small little microphone, like a cell phone microphone right over here, that just sticks out as a little nub and doesn't have to come all the way around in front of your face. I find the microphone distracting. Now, it has great sound quality. I've made phone calls when I've been on the bike, and the people I talk to can hear me perfectly well. So the sound quality of the microphone is great. It's just the length of the microphone coming out, right? They need to do something to shorten that. This pad that goes underneath and around, it sometimes gets caught on the Velcro on the top of my jacket. and so I wish that the material this was made out of was not a material that would grab Velcro, right? Do it in like a, like a leatherette or something that where the Velcro is not going to be able to grip. I think that would be better. I find every once in a while when I'm riding, especially if it's a warm day and I don't have my jacket zipped all the way up to where the neck closure is closed, I'll find that I'll go to turn my head and this bottom part of my helmet is attached to the Velcro on my jacket. So my one advice to Schuberth would be to make this pad here something that does not adhere to Velcro. The next complaint I have is the slider for the sunshade and the comms unit. They're just too close together. I find a lot of times when I'm riding that I'm fumbling around to find the slider, and my fingers are hitting the comms unit. I wish it was better separated, and I don't know how you could change the slider. Maybe make it a vertical slider or something so it goes in a different direction. I'm not 100% sure, but I would do something to separate the slider and the comms unit. Now I know that the comms unit is a Sena comms unit, and so I don't think this is really a problem with the Schuberth helmet as much as maybe it's with the Sena comms unit. These buttons on the side, especially through motorcycle gloves, are not distinct enough. I don't know what you could do for the comms unit, but the plus and minus, like if I want to get the volume up a little bit or turn the volume down a little bit, I find mostly with this helmet I have to turn the volume down. The volume actually is really good in the comms. And so a lot of times when I'm making a phone call, the person on the other end is just too loud. I can't hear anything on the road going around me when I'm on a phone call. So yeah, I wish there was a better control over here for the volume and like I said, more separation. And then the only other complaint I have is it squeaks now. So I'm going to try to demonstrate this. You can hear it. So that squeak, I mean, it only happens when you open and close the full front visor. It's possibly my fault because I never clean the helmet and I do ride with the helmet daily, and so maybe I should take the mechanism apart a little bit every once in a while and clean it or oil it. Again, if you're familiar with Schuberth helmets and what kind of maintenance you should do on them, put something in the comments for me, and maybe I will. I'm not really bothered by the squeak. Like I said, it only happens when you're putting the helmet on or taking the helmet off. But I wish it didn't squeak. One of my favorite things is I love the fact that the helmet sits as well as it does when its full face visor is open like this, and that sunshade just gives it a really stable, right? I mean, it's really stable on there, and even on crazy surfaces, you can set your helmet down, and it will sit like this. I think I don't know if that's a purposeful design on the part of Schuberth or an accidental design. I think that is excellent. You know, with other helmets that I've had that don't have the sun visor on the front, you know, you set them down upside down like this and they just roll around. This is really nice. I mean, it makes it easy. Like when I stop a ride, the first thing I do is I take my helmet off in this position. I put it on the ground next to me, and then I can easily drop my gloves inside my helmet and anything else I want to save inside the helmet while I'm stopping, you know, I'll put inside the helmet. So I think this helmet is really, really well designed. It's also, and I don't know if I say this well enough in the earlier part of this video because I haven't rewatched it in a while when I did the unboxing video for this. This is seriously one of the most comfortable motorcycle helmets I've ever worn. It fits your head like a skull cap, right? It just everything, all the padding inside just sort of conforms around your head, and you feel nice and warm and protected in there. Again, I think really a fantastic design for the helmet. So that's my sort of review of the Schuberth helmet after riding with it for a couple of years.